Da 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 da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes, get those notifications out, let people know I've gone live. And in the meantime, if you've never met me before, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside, and I am coming to, for sure, the end of my week. I always take Saturdays off, but literally the end of a week, a really important week, not just for myself, actually, in honesty, more for my family in that unit that I belong to. Again, if you've been with me for any length of time, you know my sister went into the hospital, had a quadruple heart bypass on morning. Monday morning, they are sending her home tomorrow. They're sending her home. She's doing absolutely fantastic, but it has been a little bit of a emotional roller coaster. It's been kind of a week of little miracles and little bonuses, and I think because of that mix, right? It's that best of times, it's the worst of times. And when things get really heavy, when things feel like they're going a little screwy in our lives, right? We don't look or appreciate all the amazing stuff. Now, we talked about this a couple of times this week. So I'm thinking that it's probably pretty important that I'm on it again because it wasn't my intent when I came in today. But it has been a mixed bag. Seriously, a mixed bag of good and bad. But in the end, miracle of miracles. My sister was so sick, like so sick, like she could have passed away a few times in the past year. And we've been waiting to get her into a surgery that happened this week. And I really was confident because I did the research in it, that it was going to turn out good. But we also know what we think about is realized. And my sister cannibalized herself. This is the way I look about it when we self sabotage, when we think of the worst, we don't think of the great possibilities. We don't look or trust in others outside of us. And I had that conversation with her today because of some of the conversations that we had that, it's important for us to really take a look at not just our day to days, but our moment to moments and look at how we self sabotage, how we can be our own worst enemy, how we can downplay the possibilities, or also sometimes, right, we can frivolously, say, oh, that doesn't matter, right? That's not a big deal. I can do that tomorrow, right? We don't need that bolt, that extra screw that I happen to have here that, right, might possibly be the one screw that's holding everything together, right? But you don't know where it's supposed to go. Just chuck it over your shoulders. Don't worry about it, right? Everything for me is something to look into. It's something to munch on. It's something to appreciate and not appreciate, but gratefulness is something that's been coming into the picture for me this week. And I find the more grateful I am, the more good is coming in. And there's nothing better than seeing the relief and the pride, right? There was a lot of pride because my sister was really scared, but she really didn't have a choice but to have this operation. She really did look at every option and racked her brain of a way to get out of that operation, and her life depended on it. Like her life truly depended on it. But after coming to the realization there was no getting out of it, we had that conversation about acceptance, and we talked about acceptance a little bit earlier in the week, but in a different reference, in place of forgiveness. But it's also in not crying over spilt milk. It's about just letting go and just looking at the possibilities of the world, looking at the good things that come to our lives. And this week, as much as if it was a roller coaster of highs, it was a roller coaster of lows. But I had faith that everything would be okay. Right? It was sad, and a bit of that roller coaster was in that sympathizing and appreciating, and right, that little bit of highly sensitive that we kind of empath a little bit, and right, we try to take those emotions, those high stressful scary emotions that belong to somebody else, but because they're not ours, it's sometimes easy for us to take them on in the moment because they don't affect us as much as the person that it belongs to, the person that has been cannibalizing themselves, truly, right? But the pride and the smiles and the relief of frustration and the relief of the fear and that realization that I told her when she went into the hospital that she was the best post-op patient ever, right? Because they're sending her home almost a week early, at least under a week, like 5 days, triple heart bypass. And in 5 days, they're kicking her out of her hospital bed. And she's so happy about that. She's hello, Dave. And she's so happy about that. And not only is she happy about that, I'm happy about that because now, right, we just throw off all those emotions and now we just look at building up her strength again and getting her to that state of well-being that she hasn't been in for years now, right? And not only in when I say roller coaster in our lives, I'm not just talking about emotions. I'm right. It's in the physicality of it, and sometimes in the mental of it, because she has been putting herself under a lot of stress. And it's the truth. I try to stay impartial to the turmoils of my life, right? Pay lots of attention when the good things start rolling in, but I can be just as bad sometimes in, right, not in that self devouring, but maybe in that self doubt. And so grateful for the lessons that have come across my path in the past few years, past few years, half a dozen years, but so grateful for those lessons that when I find myself in those states, right, that I can just whip out. I always call them tools. I can whip these tools out, and right, I don't even get phased by it. I don't get worried about it. For me, it's just time restraint, right? You have to go through that process. It's right. You can't cry over spilt milk. You just have to accept the way things are, adapt and conquer, ride the waves, and wait it out. And in that, relief because once we've gotten and hit that stage, right, and everything is good, it's kind of like we're holding our breath, holding our breath, holding our breath, and then it's all over, and you just go, oh, oh, I'm exhausted. I'm done. I'm going to flake out, right? I went for a walk. I got some chores done, picked myself up a cup of coffee. I came home full intent of just flaking out, but I promised my sister lazy halakchi cabbage rolls, but the lazy cabbage rolls where you just chop everything up and put it in a pot and let it simmer. So I cooked her up some lazy halakchi and yeah, put them in containers, put them in the freezer, and tomorrow I'll take them over to her house when I go for a swim. I'm actually going to go for a swim the first time this week because we have been at the hospital. We have been, right, been a support system, not for my, just for my sister Tracy who had the operation, but, you know, for the whole family because we've all been on that roller coaster, but it was, oh my, I'm not going to say worth it because we don't ever want to see anybody struggle like that, you know. They kept her pretty out of it for her first couple of days, so she didn't really know what was going on. And then in her own mind, she takes herself off the medication and the painkillers and gets the catheters out of there, the tubes out of there, and she was looking so great yesterday. Like yesterday, I felt like she could just go home and take care of herself, right? She's doing laps around the hospital floor and everything. I was just so, I was so proud of her. Like, so amazing that she gets to have her life back. And not necessarily her life back because she doesn't want her whole life, her old life, right? She gets to create something new. And again, choices, right? We talked about choices this week. And she gets to make some choices. And she's in that state of gratefulness. She's in that state of pride in herself and being able to get through that. And again, she didn't have much choice in that, but she did it. And she recognized that it wasn't, right, as bad as she expected it to be. She said that today it wasn't even close to being as bad as she expected it to be, right? And it's because she self-devoured herself. You know, she just in her mind just made it worse and worse and worse. I just got to take these notifications out. You like the cabbage rolls? I like the cabbage rolls too. I made a lot. I made two great big pots full today and let them simmer on the stove. Made sure that cabbage was nice. And you want the cabbage to be almost clear, right? Pinkish or reddish with all this tomato sauces and stewed tomatoes and stuff in it, but almost clear, translucent. And then you add the rice to it, and then you just, right, you turn it off, and 20 minutes later, it's ready to be dished out. And I could have served a whole family with what I made today, but I specifically made it for my sister. She knew that I had guests had made halakchi last week, and it's one of her favorites. And still, it's actually pretty good. It's healthy for you, and it's good and easy to digest. So it's a good recovery food for her, and it's something that she can just pull out of the freezer and throw it in the microwave. But it's, oh my goodness, that week is done. And tomorrow I was planning on going for a swim. I don't know. I truly feel I need to have a good 10 hours sleep. I'm a solid 6, 7 hour a day girl, but it's solid. Like, you know, as soon as I get into bed, I say goodnight to my cat. And, right? Close my eyes and I'm out until my alarm goes off, right? Very rarely do I pass or sleep past 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, kind of routine for me. And it's something that, it was one of the first lessons. I'm going to call it a lesson, but it was a habit. It was something I had to change because I was somebody that would stay up till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and then sleep all day. And I've done that for most of my adult life. And switching over into good sleeping habits, it served me really, really well. I am a really good sleeper. As you mature, I guess you don't need that 8, 9 hours anymore because I'm perfectly good on 6 or 7 hours of sleep every night. But, sometimes we do overdo it, right? And I think last week was like the first time in probably years that I slept more than 8 hours in a night. And it felt really good, but it also took me a couple of days to get back into that sleep routine, right? So I just wanted to share a little bit about, right, this amazing week that my whole family is so grateful for, right? None of us are ready to lose each other in this moment. Um, and what a great support system that we were. And she has an opportunity to create something brand new. Like she can't go back. Even if she wanted to, she couldn't go back to the way she was even a year ago because she has introduced so much change into her life, right? And it makes me wonder, how far will she take this? How far will she make some movement for herself, right? But it's all going to be in her choices, just like it's been like this whole time, right? And she's going to create something amazing. I know she would. I could just tell by the relief and the pride and the smiles that she had on her face today that, yeah, she's ready to go, and it's going to be fun to watch her create the best human being that she could possibly be, right? Dave says, I was a late person as a teen to go to bed at 4 and get up at 6 to go to work at Loblaws. Uh, for 6:30, can't do that now at 68. Haha. I enjoy my sleep. I enjoy my sleep too, but the thing is with me, I enjoy life so much. I don't want to waste my life. I don't necessarily feel that I've in any way in my entire life really wasted my life. I've always been that little bit of an energizer bunny, even though my sleeping habits have been pretty whacked. I have always been an energizer bunny. And because I've always been an explorer and an adventurer in my life, and whether it was in a small way or a large way, um, it has been uh, a pretty amazing kind of, I hate to be kind of corny because everybody says it, but it's been kind of a really neat journey that I've had along the way. I just have to check to see. Okay, it's not my sister. She's getting out of the hospital tomorrow morning, and I don't know if I'm supposed to run and get her car and go pick her up, or if my sister's going to pick her up tomorrow. She said she was going to get back to me tonight. I told her she could message me or phone me at any time. Um, um, but I'm going to assume that my sister is going to pick her up tomorrow because she knows that I'll be walking over because it'll take me an hour or so to walk to her place and pick up the car, right? And then another hour, I guess, to get it sorted out, to get those cabbage rolls in her freezer and go pick her up and bring her home and make sure she's good. And I still got to pack all my swimming gear just in case I decide to go swimming. It'll be good for me. I'm getting lots of exercise, and I'm going to attribute that little lack of energy to, right, just giving it a little bit more. I'm not going to say giving it a little bit more than I should. I don't very often overexert myself mentally, emotionally, or physically anymore, but I do find that I'm able to keep moving if I need to keep moving. And also, if I have to give that extra energy, if I have to put that extra effort in, right? I'm not working in the moment, right? If I want to crash, if I want to take a nap, I'll do it. I don't punish myself. I don't deny myself, right? If I want it, I'll take it and be grateful for the extra hour or the few minutes that if I lay down for a break, for a nap during the afternoon. I did that earlier in the week, and I didn't take a nap or anything, but I laid in bed for half an hour, and it was just amazing. I really enjoyed it, right? So I don't do things just because, right? I can. I do it because it's not, they're just pulling somebody over. Somebody did something sneaky on the road. I live right behind a fire station. The fire trucks and paramedics are always going by my apartment, but I didn't hear any today, like none. And I don't recall a day that I didn't hear at least two, sometimes three times that those fire trucks and paramedics are going by my place. So I'm just going to put some more of that good mojo out there, right? And maybe the same thing will happen tomorrow, right? You never know. Um, Oh, thank you so much, Dave. That's very much appreciated that you're sending my sister that good cheer. You know what? She's doing so amazing. I can't believe that she had a triple heart bypass and she was sent home 5 days. 5 days later, they're sending her. They're sending her home. She's a good healer, but like I said, oh, excuse me, you guys. She devoured herself, like she cannibalized herself. She put herself, it was in her own choices to drive herself scary. And that's the thing, though, right? It's not my experience, it was her experience. And I'm sure if I was the one that was going in for that heart bypass, I don't think I would have done the same thing. I would just say, how fast can we get this done? Like, can we get this done yesterday? Like, so I don't have to stress out about it, right? I would have ridden those waves. I wouldn't have tried, right? I would have probably tried harder to get the operation sooner rather than trying to figure out how to get out of the operation, right? But everybody is different and everybody's entitled to be different. Everybody's allowed to make choices for themselves and decisions for themselves, right? We don't always, even though lots of people try, we don't get to make decisions for other people, right? We only get to make those decisions for ourselves. And if you try to make that decision for somebody else, if you try to dictate somebody else's movement, that just makes you controlling. That just makes you a narcissist, a know it all. And who wants to be reflected on in that way, right? It's different if the doctor says, right? The expert says, the one who gets that say whether or not you get to go home or not. But absolutely incredible. 5 days. But my week is done, right? And I am done. And so tomorrow I'm just going to do whatever my little heart decides, right? And whether it's a walk or go for a swim. I will be seeing my sister tomorrow through this recovery process. I will be that motivator. I'll be that little bit of inspiration. I will be her helper, right? And we'll just get her through this, right? And like I said, she's doing amazing. Okay, you guys, let's just pick a card. We'll go into it real quick just for a few minutes. You haven't hung out with me before. They're just 54 powerful words, and it's always the first thing that comes to my mind in the moment. But yeah, let's just pick this card. Thank you for popping in, Dave. I really appreciate it. And again, I'll send her all your guys's well wishes and good cheer. So many people praying for her, like praying for her more than I was praying for her. I was more of a motivator. I was sending her good cheer. I was being that support system. But you know what? So amazing that my friends and the people who hang out with me here in my brand, who I consider friends, because right, we've been together for right 10 years, longer than some of my few friends that I have in my life, and it's so amazing, right? Takes all kinds to make the world, and I'm so grateful that I have all kinds hanging out with me. Okay, you guys, let's pull a card. Here we go. Community, you guys. Community offers up a sense of belonging. This week, my family was my community. And there was a time not too long ago when we were just kind of all doing our own thing, right? And I have to say, the first thing that comes to my mind is, don't leave things for the last minute. If you have something to say, something to give, something to contribute to those people that you care about, do it right away. As soon as it hits you, as soon as it comes to your mind, do it. Say it, because you never know what the next day is going to offer up, and that next day might not offer up that opportunity to say what you want to say, do what you want to do, whether it's for yourself or for somebody else. You know, community does offer up a sense of belonging, and everybody deserves and needs, seriously, right? Lots of people spend a lot of their lives by themselves, like I do myself. I spend so much time on my own because right, I don't want to hang out with people and just entertain them, right? When I go for these camping trips, and I'm going on my trip, 3 weeks, you guys, I'm on the road. I am so excited because I really didn't know whether or not. Actually, I was pretty certain there wasn't going to be a possibility that I'd be able to take my trip this year. That I felt that that I had to do the right thing, and if my sister has to struggle, I'm going to struggle right along with her, and I did. But in the timing of things and those little bit of miracles that come into our lives, and that best of times, it's the worst of times. And in that recognition that, we can't sacrifice ourselves, right? We can sacrifice our time. We can support each other. We can be a part of that community, knowing that we're going to hold somebody up, and when we're in need, we know that those people are going to hold us up at the same time. It's in doing the right thing, right? Doing the right thing. And I guess these rewards and these little miracles and these little bonuses and a little bit of abundance here and there, no matter whether that abundance is monetary or emotional or mental, right? Sometimes that little bit of abundance that we get is just in getting through it. And we got through it, right? As a team, in that supporting not just my sister Tracy, but each other, because, she had her experience in this, but I most definitely had my experience in it too. And so did my sisters, and so did her friends, right? And we're not through the woods yet, but I'm convinced that we are going to be, right? I believe in my sister, and I believe in this community that I'm in, right? Because I feel I'm a part of it. And whether it's being a part of my family, or being a part here, or just being my own community when I hang out by myself. Like I said, I hang out by myself. But I feel I belong to myself. I feel like I belong in my own world, right? Each one of us gets to create the best human being we possibly can, but we can't get through it without each other, right? If nothing else, we are a world village. Truly, we are. Community offers up a sense of belonging. We have to remember that, right? Because, lots of us do go through our lives, right? Not interacting with others, isolating ourselves, maybe downplaying uh, how we reflect on ourselves, right? Not recognizing that we actually matter too. And if mattering means being by ourselves, being comfortable, feeling safe, doing our own thing, recognizing that we are unique, and it's, we can't whip up people, we can't drive people crazy with our uniqueness. I told you, I drove my sister crazy with my uniqueness this week. She got a good dose of Cindy. She doesn't hang out here, um, in my live shows or in my content. She's right. She is very independent, and she's very solid in the way she feels and the way she moves. And even though she is sometimes tolerant, right, right, she doesn't necessarily believe the way I believe. But I would like to think, after the week that we've gone through this week, that maybe she believes a little bit more in this community of, right? Never deny your own, because in the end, that's all you've got. You guys, that's all I've got for you tonight. I'm just going to relax tomorrow. I'm going to feel the day out. I'm going to contribute to my sister's well being and contribute to my own well being. And if you want to come in on Sunday night and hang out with us, Chatters Live, Dave is a part of Blue Cow. He's a part of that Chatters Live. Maybe he'll be in. Right? I don't expect that everybody's going to be there every single week, but there are people who have and will. I can pretty much guarantee that they will be there, but everybody should take that break, right? When you need it. And remember that you matter, right? Sometimes you're just that community of one. And in that community one, you got to take care of yourself. Okay, you guys. That's my good cheer. We'll see you Sunday. If you want to pop in Sunday, if you, right, you're taking your own day off, I'll be back on Monday. You guys, have a great weekend. Thank you, Dave.